Okay, it's New Year's Day, and we were walking up this beach yesterday. There's Hare Hill behind us, and we discovered there's a trig point on there 16 metres above Ordnance Datum. Who'd have thought there's a trig point on Walney, but there is. And we'd started from much further north, further along the island, and we got up to some gun emplacements up here yesterday, and it was getting a bit late and the dark, you know, it was beginning to darken. Thought better turn around and go back. And on the way back we met someone who said, "Did you see the whale?" So we thought, no, we blinking didn't. We'd turn around before we got to that. So we're going back again today to have a look at the whale. I've got my measuring stick there, Poppet's carrying it, so we can record its principal dimensions and just see it. I'll bring it back when we get to these gun emplacements because they're quite interesting. Yeah. I think there's about half an hour to high tide. It's going to be an 8.5, I think it is. So we're well safe parked where we are in the blue van. On higher tides, of course, you know, if it's a 9.5 or a 10 or something, especially if it's blowing a bit of a hoolie, this ground here can become a wash. So that's something to think about. Know your tide times and all that kind of thing. Anyway, in a bit. So here we come to the sort of gun emplacement kind of stuff. I'll just wait till we get a bit closer. It's quite exciting, really. Interestingly, you can see a line of brick, which probably denoted a handling floor or surface, provisions and ammunition for these. And I suppose, like the pillboxes at Palace Nook, these have been undermined by tides over the years and have sort of popped out. But it appears to have been 1, 2, 3 platforms on the beach, assuming there isn't another one which is totally disintegrated. But this isn't the object of today's expedition, it's the whale, remember, but just in passing, as you do. Yeah, so this is where we turned round yesterday, just because of the lateness of the hour. But I should have said it's New Year's Day 2020 today. We've been out for a slap up meal. Yep. Pot noodle in the van. Literally. Seriously. It's once a year, isn't it? You know, sod the expense. So we're freshly eaten and fueled to be in expedition mode. Just show you these things again. These gun platforms, I suppose you might call them. So seem to have an array of hold down bolts on top. Keep those blinking zeppelins at bay, you know. I remember yesterday there were some hold down bolts. You could see the pattern of them up here. So maybe this was the 4th platform, gun platform. Anti-aircraft guns, I suppose they would have been, wouldn't they? Yeah, do you see this configuration of hold down bolts? For fastening down the gun turret mechanism, traversing, I suppose, so it could traverse the skies and elevate, or whatever it did. I don't know. I'm just gibbering. Anyway, we're going along the beach to look for this whale. That's what we're doing. There's huge, great rabbit holes. Impressive. I was just telling YouTube how we'd just been for a slap-up meal poppet. Sod the expense, it's New Year's Day. What did we have? That's right. Now it's high tide in about 10 minutes time, 8.4, 8.5. So for a tide to have washed that up, it must have been a good bloody 10.1 metre jobby or something like that, you know. We're keeping upwind of it because it'll probably stench a little bit. Here we are then. I'll go in and measure it in a minute. Got its tongue hanging out, I think, or something like that. Oh. It's a bit of a mess on this side, not so appealing. Not a pretty sight, is it? Getting a bit of a whiff on this side. Bit fishy. I don't know if that appendage there implies it's a male fish. Actually, it's got ropes around its tail. I wonder if it's been dragged up. It's possible, isn't it? Yeah, I can see some tractor marks there. Might well have been dragged from a tide line lower down. You can physically see the drag marks. I'm just following them down now. Or it's been hauled up with a tractor or something. And that's the 8.5 or 8.4 water line, high water now. So I'm guessing this would have been maybe a 9.5 water line that it washed up on. And this appears to be a bit of a fish here. You see those ribs? They've been cut quite cleanly there, haven't they? That's a bit of blubber and muscle tissue. There's something, I can imagine a propeller blade, you know, sweeping that kind of chunk out of the flank of the poor bloody thing. Whether or not it was already dead by the time it got hit, I don't know, but you know, it's got that kind of radial arc to it, hasn't it, that a ship's screw might perhaps do. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's just a theory. Here's the trail marks going back up to the behemoth. Now, I'm not going to contaminate the crime scene, as it were. Oh, thank you. So the pole is 1.5 metres long. 1.5. 1.5. 3 metres. 4.5. 6 metres. Oh, I've probably gone out of view.
Do you want me to hold it?
No, it's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that'll be wobbly. I'm up to 6 metres now. Just as a stone up at 6 metres. 6 metres. From the 6 metre mark, I've got another 1.4 metres, so it's 7.4 metres long. And now I'll just measure its its waist, as it were. 0.5 metre, 1 metre. Yeah, it's about 1 metre in breadth. Can you stuff that card pocket? So 1 metre in breadth that was. Now, in 2001, I think it was October-ish, there was a large, very large whale washed up at Skelwith Hill, which is north of Frith Hall on the Leven estuary. Well, I went to have a look at that, and I took a long tape measure to measure that, and that, for example, or for comparison, was 13 metres long, and it was 1.6 metres high, or its breadth as it were, you know, and 13 metres equates to 42.5 feet in Old English money. So that was a big bugger. I mean, this isn't small, but you know, it's not as big as that one was. But that was halfway up the estuary. Well, more than halfway up. I'll just get a bit of detail on this, because you don't often get a chance to see marine aquatic beasties, do you? Yeah, see all that filament stuff going on, like a comb around its mouth to filter the plankton, I suppose. What do? Do they take a mouthful and then squeeze out the water, and that comb structure retains the plankton inside the mouth, so then it can swallow without swallowing half a ton of seawater each time. Yeah, and a big bilious tongue. I don't know if these markings identify it to anyone who knows their stuff. It looks like an aerated hull form from a boat, doesn't it? You know, sort of clinker built form, boat structure it almost looks like. And I wonder if it would all have been black. I don't know, that's sun bleaching that's gone on there and eroded for pigment. It's all a bit messy on this side. Like I say, from that chunk on the beach, you know, it could perhaps have been a propeller incident. Not necessarily locally either, it could have been well out to sea, you know, and then it got swept ashore by the tides. So yeah, 7.4. What did I say? The other one was 13, so that was twice as long, roughly speaking. The other one. Real big old boy. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I haven't touched anything other than just to measure for our interest as interested in local things. Just use this box as a camera stand. Bit of a sunset coming on. What time is it now? 3:30. Bit early for a sunset, but sun sets on an outgoing tide.